happening, Robot Wars and Battlebots fans? Hardcore Kid here with another edition of the Hardcore Podcast. To my left, I got... The hell are you doing, Nate?
Sorry, I'm enjoying some nice barbecue courtesy of Brewster. Gave me some smoked brisket.
What the hell did I tell you about eating at the podcast?
Sorry, man. This is some of the best brisket
And he is choking right now.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. I was choking just like Bruce Boudreaux does in the playoffs every year.
Lovely.
Ooh.
So, we have a couple guests with us tonight. First off, we, of course, have Ryan Beaver.
Hi, guys. How you doing? And thanks to Nate Milbank, I am now hungry.
I'm hungry, too. Where's my Baconator?
It's on the show.
And who's the other guest we have?
Well,
Oh,
making his
hello.
making his return to the podcast. Hopefully this time he does not lag out on us like he did last time.
Well,
He is
Hey.
the captain of Monsoon. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tommy Brewster.
Oh, God. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm very good. How are you guys doing?
We're
We're
hanging
doing
in.
great.
Very good. Very good.
It's awesome we have both Tom and Ryan with us. I always thought you guys look like twins. Got the same
Wait, what?
mustache,
What?
same
What?
hair. Yeah. Have you seen a picture of Ryan? He almost looks just like you.
Oh, my God. He might be my long-lost twin.
Maybe.
I don't know.
The,
I'd say I'm fatter.
the saying goes is that there's at least 5 people on Earth who look like you.
I'm not sure how to feel about this.
Yeah. So,
It's okay. Just think of it this way. I'm the ugly one.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure I am. Let's be honest.
who knows? Ryan always has 100 different robot designs to go with. Who knows? Maybe you'll make your own Beetleweight Monsoon.
Oh, who knows? There is some kind of beta weight on the horizon, so who knows?
Awesome.
I already have 3,600 ideas on my plate. I don't need more.
Want more?
No. Bad Ray.
So, of course, we got episode 4 of Battlebots to cover, and Tom was in the first match with Monsoon going up against Red Devil.
That was good fun.
So, Tommy, I guess we should give you the floor. Tell us about Monsoon. Is this just a reskin of Toron Mark III, or is this something more?
Well, it's essentially what Toron 3 was going to be. I'm not going to lie, it definitely started life out as Toron 3, but seeing as Robot Wars got cancelled, I needed somewhere to take this robot and to really see what it could do. So when BattleBots came back on, I knew that it was the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And,
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's really where it came from, to be honest, yeah.
Any improvements that you've made from the last time you competed?
Yeah, well, so the biggest, there's quite a few big differences, really. I mean, first of all, compared to, really I should be comparing it to Toron 2. So it's a lot more compact this time around. It's a lot stubbier. It's a little bit wider. The armor is all beveled so that it can lift up at the front, and if it gets caught on a flipper, we can just kind of reverse away. And it's also got those feeder forks. Finally, we have feeder forks. And they definitely work. And, of course, the other big upgrades are that having Tim on the team, he's...
The biggest upgrade of all.
Big upgrade. But, no, I mean, him on the team is amazing because he's such a good wire man. And he's rewired the entire machine very nicely. And, he's made a nice solid link as well.
Nice. Yeah, we were going to have Tim on as well, but alas, he's been sent back to the Kentucky Fried Fortress known as Clashbots in China.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
don't worry. Hopefully he'll make his big return.
So, Tommy, in your first fight against Red Devil, a robot basically known for being like a defensive sort of robot. How did you feel going in up against such a well-engineered and beautiful-looking machine, we shall say?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, firstly, I'm a big fan of Red Devil. I just love the way that those claws kind of actuate. And I really like overhead saws because I'm a big fan of the robots that don't follow the meta. And I guess that's weird being a big spinner such as myself. But, I like to think that Monsoon is a slightly more unique take on it with the rearing up and the pivoting. But a robot like Red Devil was a bit nerve-wracking to fight because it's such a good machine and it's so well made. And I'm no engineer, but the guys that made this really know what they're doing. So going up against Red Devil, the robot that took out Witch Doctor last time round, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big machine to go up against for a new, relatively untested machine, and it was good. It was a really good fight, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing how much saw blades seem to have made a comeback. I mean, we've seen it with Saw Blaze, we've seen it with Red Devil, we've seen it.
Wasn't there another one in season 1 called Ambush?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that never got working, and of course we have Scorpios we'll talk about later.
Oh, absolutely.
Despacito.
No. Get enough of that meme on TF2 shit posting. I don't need it here.
Yeah, so this match, it started out really good.
It was my pick for match of the night.
Mine too. Yeah, like Monsoon was just unleashing all kinds of big hits on Red Devil.
There were 2 moments in here that would get it nominated for the John Reed Good Hit of the Night award. For anyone who's listening from Robot Wars Shunt Posting, please create that graphic for us. The John Reed Good Hit of the Night.
I made my own sloppy one in Microsoft Paint for the awards. Now we need it look professional.
Yeah. I already did the Kraken stapler. I'm not doing this one.
Yeah. So it seems like Jerome's bots always have trouble against robots named after storms. I mean, we saw what Cyclone did to Hyperactive, ripped the blade off and then tossed it out of the arena. What does Monsoon do? Rips the blade off and tosses it onto its back.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's great to finally see Monsoon doing really well. And then basically what happens was Red Devil gets flipped upside down, so now it can really only use the plow. Monsoon's blade stopped working. What happened with that?
Yeah, so as you might know from the design, when we get flipped, the whole thing pivots round, right? Mm-hmm. And the idea would then be to reverse the blade. But in practice, it was far easier just to keep the blade spinning the wrong way. And then when you hit the other machine, you hope that you're going to get either flipped over or just do some more damage, right? Yeah. But in this case, when you can see on the final hit, when we were spinning the wrong way and we hit part of their scoop, instead of hitting them upwards, we kind of it got drawn into the weapon bulkheads. And you can see on that last hit, the piece of Red Devil getting drawn in just as the blade comes around, and it clogs up the bulkheads, and unfortunately that's why the weapon stopped spinning. And I believe the smoke was coming from the belt when Tim was still trying to spin the weapon, and of course it was jammed.
I saw it trying to spin up. I'm like, okay, the spinner, it's not dead. Toron, thank goodness. Sorry, Monsoon. See what I'm doing? Monsoon has not broken down. It's just something's wrong with its weapon.
Yeah, I mean the motor and the contactor are completely fine. That the smoke was purely from the belts, just slipping, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I will say it was a very close match. I mean, right towards the end, I'm thinking, I could barely call it, but
I knew that I had a feeling that Monsoon would win, but knowing Tommy's history, I was worried that he was going to get screwed over by the judges.
I think if I was the judge, I would give it to Monsoon, because once it took out Red Devil's saw, I'm like, there really isn't anything Red Devil could do except push. Mm-hmm. And then Monsoon,
it looked like it was deadlocked most of the time.
Yeah, it was really, really close towards the end. And Tom finally got the win on a split decision. Tom got a win!
Hey!
Tommy, I just want to say my sincere congratulations to you. For winning your first ever televised fight. It was a very good match, and you earned that victory, man. Yep.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
There is one thing... Go ahead, Tommy.
I was going to say, I could not have done it without Tim and Sam and Sarah, all of my team, because, we all worked to get this machine ready for Battlebots, because we only had about 5 weekends to do it, because coming from the UK, we had to ship 2 weeks prior to everybody else in the US. Yeah. Other than the New Zealand guys, of course, and that made it a little bit tricky, but we did it. So thank you so much.
And it worked out in the end.
Congratulations, Tommy. There is one thing that I do want to ask you, Tom, and it has to do with Tim's little chant or whatever that was he does.
His howl, Monsoon.
Was that?
Yes.
Did he plan that, or was that a spur of the moment thing?
It was a little bit spur of the moment, maybe. We might, yeah. It was maybe a bit spur of the moment, but it was glorious.
I loved how you corpsed once Tim howled Monsoon.
Monsoon.
I think I will say it's great to have Tim in BattleBots because he's definitely one of the most entertaining guys on the show, and we're definitely gonna have an award at the end for most entertaining Roboteer, and he's up there.
I think he will be. Yeah, no, Tim's awesome. We love him.
We're hoping to have you and Tim on once he gets back from China.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Yes.
It's gonna be such a noisy podcast. Like,
you know, we need all the noise we can get.
oh dear.
That isn't background noise or static noise or
Hey,
chewing on crumpets.
Hey, I made a mistake, okay?
Good grief, Nate. This is what I have to put up with every episode.
every episode. Oh dear.
Well, except for the ones where he's not available, which.
Oh.
Yeah, not so hard anymore. Joke's on you. I don't work evenings anymore.
Woo.
Yeah.
Everybody's working for the evening.
Anyway,
here we go.
So,
All right.
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's move on to our second battle.
There's one more thing I want to say.
What's up, Ryan?
If I ever get onto BattleBots, I actually do kind of fight Monsoon because of one reason. He killed Senpai.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm a huge Red Devil fan, so I just had to make that joke.
Oh boy. So that covers the first match. So we'll move on to Lucky, or as I like to call it, Mini Ziggy, versus. Oh, I keep wanting to say Sawblaze. It's not Sawblaze.
Scorpios.
Yes.
Just remember, Despotcito.
Oh, okay.
No, stop it.
So yeah. So if you guys are a big fan of matches with lots and lots of sparks, this is the match for you.
I gotta say, I'm loving how as Tommy says, I'm liking that saws are starting to make a comeback. Even though they aren't the most damaging weapon, it's just fun to watch them make all these sparks as the blade bounces off the armor.
Visually, it's definitely.
I
great
really
to see.
hope we see a Sawbot in the UK.
I think we've. I know that there were a few in the earlier series. Like, remember Hardvark?
No. Yeah, that's the only
Baking.
one. There was also Fighting Torque, which the less said there, the better.
That thing didn't even have teeth on it. It was small torque. Had small torques disc on it.
And then there was Hippopotamus.
Basically, Fighting Torque covered in a sandpit. Yeah, I don't recall any of the saw blade on arms aside from maybe a few Series 2 machines, but Disruptor, which did nothing.
I can't think of any, to be honest.
I'm sure there'll be a few.
I know there are some in the lower weight classes, but I actually can't think of any heavyweights now.
No. Well, I'm sure Jameson Go can give him a few pointers. So Scorpios, they actually competed in Series 2 in one of the qualifier battles in the first episode, and
they got screwed over.
Yeah, literally, they drove right into the screws and got stuck, and unfortunately couldn't get away. But they've come back, and mostly it's the same design, except for this match they had a brand new saw blade on it and made some nice sparks that flew everywhere.
And thankfully, those sparks were coming from the opponent and not the actual screw hazard. Seriously, if you look at the photo, that thing managed to cut like halfway through the screw trying to get out.
I wonder if those screws still have the big mark on it from last year.
I doubt it.
Yeah, and Lucky, basically it's a heavyweight version of Ziggy, which competes in Robo Games. In fact, they actually competed on Robo Games this past year, and they took 4th. And if you've never seen Lucky or Ziggy before, basically it's like a big... Imagine if Biohazard had a big pneumatic flipper instead of just a regular lifter. It's a 4-bar design, and it's got a real push to it. It's awesome.
it is pretty potent when it works.
I've seen
Biohazard and Inertia Labs unholy offspring, basically.
I saw them fight against a Sewer Snake on YouTube, and they managed to get Sewer Snake out of the arena.
Yeah, which is not easy to do, because there's like little sections alongside the Robo Games arena that you really can't get out, but yeah, it's tricky, and unfortunately, drive-wise, I think what happened was, I think Scorpios managed to get its blade right into the wheels, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, and fortunately, that was pretty much it, but yeah, it was a one-sided fight. It was actually reminiscent to Overhaul versus Sawblaze, but it's definitely worth watching if you really want to see sparks, and it was great.
Sparks fly, robots die.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was flipping out during this fight just because of the fact that, again, I love Sawbot, so it's really nice to see them when they actually win. And just seeing the amount of sparks and as well as dust and smoke that blade produced was unbelievable. So I was very happy during this fight.
I did love the heelish thing that Scorpios did when it went for the children's signatures.
What?
No, the children signed their names on the side of Lucky.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't see that?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Mm-hmm. Chris and Kenny were marking out over it.
Yeah, Chris and Kenny, like, we make fun of them a lot. They were pretty good tonight.
Oh, they've been great for the most part this season. They've definitely gotten they've definitely improved this time around. And my mom says that the people who are doing BattleBots this time around did their homework and seem to be copying a lot from Robot Wars in terms of pacing and what have you.
Yeah.
And I know Kenny's been using the term self-righting mechanism quite a few times.
Where did he get that from, I wonder?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of broadcasting, I actually did an experiment. I was talking with a friend of mine about the commercial breaks, since he compared it to Robot Wars, which has no commercial breaks. So, and apparently it's about 18 minutes. So it was just a fun experiment I did to kind of compare the amount of fights of Robot Wars. And I'm just throwing that out there. Sorry about that.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah, Tom, what did you think of this fight?
I thought it was a really good one. I think, with all the sparks going, it was just a really good one for TV, more importantly. And what you were saying about the pacing of the episode, I really like the amount of fights they've got now compared to, I think, last time round.
Yeah,
I think last time it was like 4, right? And then you have the adverts, and then you've got all the talking in between. Without all the kind of the technical aspect, and there's a bit more of that this time round. Not enough, I don't think, but still better than the previous series, I think.
Yeah. Someone on Twitter says that BattleBots, he wants to see like them doing more like educational stuff and less of like the little wrestling presentations they got going on. And part of me says, well, duh, that's what makes it so entertaining.
Yeah, except minus all the run-ins, although we almost got another run-in by that little drone that was flying around.
Oh yeah, we forgot. This fight had a drone in.
Vanguard 2, I call it.
Well, technically now it's Vanguard 3, because Vanguard 2 got struck by Huge's blade.
Ha ha!
Ooh.
We got a...
Oh, we have a run-in!
We have a run-in! We have a fan of ours.
A very special guest, ladies and gentlemen. One of the people behind Battlebots and Robot Wars Zone meme queen, ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Malyan.
Yay!
Hello!
Hey, good to have you on.
We were just stalling about Scorpios and Lucky, waiting for you to run in.
And,
yeah,
it's great to have you on.
I made a recent achievement with Scorpios, actually. Did anybody see the Scorpy Flurp that I made? Because the Scorpy Flurp I made was amazing.
Oh, you need to share it. I'll make it the title card.
No. Well, it's either going to be that or that Tom Raider photo that.
Oh my god! I saw your comment on that post as well, saying, "Oh, can I use this in the podcast?"
Yeah.
Oh. No.
Out of respect for you, Tommy, we won't use it.
don't know. Maybe we'll use it for the next Monsoon episode.
Hey! Oh, there we go. Go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Sarah, so far we've only covered the first 2 fights. It was
Monsoon and Red Devil and then Lucky and Scorpios.
Yes. What'd you think of Monsoon versus Red Devil?
Woo!
I love that fight. I felt bad. I'm going to try that again. It's all good. Yeah, the spinner was working really well at first. It was a bit sad that it kind of cut out towards the end, but they still won the fight. So it was cool. I was rooting for the British team in that fight as a fellow British loyalty, of course.
Yeah, because we really want to see Tom finally win a fight. And
now that he's won, I'm gonna have to change my hashtag.
Oh no.
Who else we got?
Hashtag pray for Craig. Craig Danby.
He's won some fights.
Not a televised match.
Well,
he won back in the original Robot Wars. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he immobilized Raven. Yeah.
That wasn't hard.
So Monsoon versus
Well, he hasn't
Red
won
Devil.
in singles competition. Let's put it that way.
I believe he's got a few fights. He's going to be competing at Hickory Bot Battles in Hickory, North Carolina. He's got a Beetleweight version of Foxic he's going to be competing with. So we'll see how that turns out.
Does look nice.
Oh, I want to see a mini Foxic. There's loads. There's not a beta weight one, is there? There's an ant weight. There's a couple of ant weights, I think.
Rusty, a little.
Yeah, there are a few ant-weight Foxics, but we haven't seen a Beetle version.
And then there was Lucky versus Scorpios, which was Spark City. Mm-hmm. What'd you think of that one, Sarah?
It was Spark City, and it was glorious. We love a Spark City fight.
Yeah, big saw blade going against titanium. It's really reminds me of Dead Metal. Basically, the whole
when
saw.
Dead Metal sawed into Wheelie Big Cheese's wheel.
That was basically this
big spark shower, man. Chris and Kenny were going nuts over it again.
Pretty much that. So now we move on to the greatest bad match of all time. Tantrum versus Battle Royal with Cheese.
Can I just say this? I described Battle Royale with Cheese to my parents as the single greatest Battlebot ever built. Simply for its design
I
alone.
wanted it to do well. Do you know what? I really, really wanted it to do well. I didn't expect it to do well, but I feel guilty for that because it's so wonderful, and I really, really wanted it to do well, and then it didn't, and I was kind of like, well, meh.
Tommy, do you know what happened? Because we're probably gonna have the team on to talk about it further.
Yeah, I mean, so firstly, the team are absolutely awesome guys. You know, they're so lovely.
I love the costumes.
Yeah, I love it when you get teams that just really go for it like that because it's just great to see. And I remember they had it in the test box, and it span up completely fine. You know, I believe they've got a great big brushless motor on that weapon, so it's got some power behind it. And from what I remember, I think when they put it in the arena, something broke to do with their torque limiter, I believe. And as a result, it was set too high or too low, and they couldn't spin it. And it's a real shame because it really is a pretty scary robot. You know, it's a big chunk of weight in that bacon, you know. It really is scary.
Bacon man.
I so badly want a Baconator right now.
A Baconator.
I'm about to make you jealous. I've had 2 in the past 2 days. I'm
not feeling jealous for you, man. I'd be concerned. Go to your cardiologist. Seek help.
Yeah.
Oh my
Royale
god.
with Cheese. It looks like they also had a mini bot with them. I think that's the Cheese.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. It's something. Is it Smaller Pounder or something? I can't remember.
Quarter pounder.
Is it Quarter Pounder?
I think it's Quarter Pounder.
Well, they got quarter.
Just to complete the Pulp Fiction reference.
I love it, but I'm pretty sure that they can use the mini bot when they use, I think, the pickle blade. I'm not sure. It's such a weird way to be talking about a combat robot like this, but I'm sure that if they use the pickle blade, they can use Quarter Pounder. So.
You ever notice the guy in the burger suit looks a lot like
Must be
Mick
the
Foley?
dodgy sentence I've ever heard Tom Brewster say.
Notice they used pickle.
With my pickle blade.
So,
As long as it's not named Pickle Rick, I'll be happy with it.
Pickle.
Oh, God.
Oh, really?
No.
I also love I also love how the team captain he enters the ring with like an olive on a toothpick with a little pimento on top. Like, I'm just curious, how many burgers have you eaten where they had like one of those little olives on top?
I don't think I've ever had one of those, actually.
I think he was just taking a class to it, to be honest. He was just like, you know, look, I've got this derpy bot that's amazing and you all love it, but look, I'm a classy guy. I've got my olives.
Yeah, I also kind of want to throw this out there. Besides the robot's performance, there were two other things that disappointed me about this match. One, the fact that Farouk didn't make a single Jimmy Buffett reference. Number two, the fact that they didn't dress as Jules and Vinny.
Okay, you know what? That brings up something I want to point out. We got our Farouk moment of the night when he introduced the other robot, Tantrum, who we'll talk about. But he said for his intro, "This is gonna make you a bigger crybaby than Tom Brady." Oh, what?
I think he missed an opportunity with Battle Royale with cheese, though. Did nobody think to get him to say, "It's burger flipping time"?
He's got 3 more matches.
Yeah, he's got 3 or 4 more. I think he can do it.
That's
It's just to add insult to injury for all the Massachusetts viewers. He did the Philadelphia Eagles fly gesture.
Only a brick wall could stop you. Its name is the Eagles.
I get that that's obviously an American sporting reference,
Yeah,
but
because
as a Brit, that went over my head.
Yeah,
Sarah,
I don't follow sports either.
I don't get either, Sarah. I have no idea what they're on about.
Basically, to all of our non-sports fans and to all of our British viewers, the Philadelphia Eagles shockingly upset the New England Patriots, the juggernaut, in the Super Bowl this year, armed with a backup quarterback, no less. And naturally, since Farouk's Twitter handle is Faroukadelphia, and then he did the Fly Eagles Fly celebration.
He's a big Eagles
He's
fan.
clearly a fan of Washington Capitals forward Evgeny Kuznetsov.
Are we talking about football or baseball here?
He's moving on to hockey now.
Hockey?
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah, Stanley Cup is this weekend, and the Washington
Literally,
Capitals are up 3 games.
Sport, and that's like baseball, and then the thing you call football.
The thing you call football.
Hand egg.
Soccer.
Hand
Sorry,
egg.
soccer.
Egg.
Pigskin ball.
Rugby for wimps.
Overpaid idiots.
Now he's looking at a gif of doing the Fly Eagles fly.
Thing in the world.
Anyway, let's get back on target and talk about the other robot in this fight, Tantrum. And I just want to say, I love this thing. I absolutely adore this thing.
Spatula bot.
This thing wouldn't look out of place on Robot Wars, if I must be honest.
Looking at it, when I heard that the weapon was a spring-powered flipper, the first thing that came to mind was Dietor. I didn't really think it would be doing all that well.
It's a car spring flipper.
It's a car spring flipper, and it isn't hugely powerful, but it was perfect for this match. It had the spatula on the front to flip the burger up and over. It was
if you
awesome.
look closely, you see. Did you pay attention to those little hands it has on the side?
I was getting some terrifying flashbacks to Cassius Chrome or Spike from Series 3 with those fists.
It was holding.
We don't talk. Stop it! Don't talk about Cassius Chrome. You're not allowed.
In those little hands.
Forget it happened.
In those little hands on the side, it was holding a pair of tongs and a giant fork.
Which is still better looking than Cassius Chrome.
Oh dear.
This segment has gone off the rails, but...
Well, one thing's for sure, we're never going to see a hashtag bring back Cassius Chrome, ever.
No, I think we should... We should totally say that.
The fight began with the burger being flipped, literally.
And... yeah.
tasty.
Yeah. I mean, can I just say that it was really good to see Tantrum go over there and keep the fight going because...
Yeah.
I love it when Roboteers do.
You gotta make it look good for TV.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, for a team to do that on, on the big stage that is TV is even better because when they do that, you can tell that they're really there to put on a good show, and they're just trying to have a really good fight, and it's nice to see that.
Even if this was the not so great of a fight, I was thoroughly entertained by it.
I was cackling.
Oh yeah,
through
yeah.
it.
Chris and Kenny's commentary helped it too.
Yeah. I was doing the Ray Billings cackle while I was watching the burger just get flipped over and over again.
I'm doing the Ray Billings scream that fight, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard not to make a hash-slinging slash reference with this thing, I swear.
I brought my own spatula.
The lights will flicker on and off,
Watching-
off.
Yeah.
Honestly, watching this, it made me hungry for steamed hams.
Steamed
I have
hams.
no idea how or why that's a meme. But,
Oh, that's a good one.
Honestly, I love it. Speaking of Battle Royale and steamed hams, I think the best meme I've actually seen with this was steamed hams. That was a dub of Pulp Fiction. That was amazing.
But, let's move.
If there's one last good thing to say about Tantrum, though, it's got the googly eyes.
And that
He
pop off.
loves the
that pop
giggly
off.
eyes.
And it reveals like surprised eyes or something.
Yeah.
And
I think
magnetic eyebrows.
It's the eyebrows that move,
I was
isn't
gonna say, they went one step further and went for eyebrows as well. That's points.
it? It is good. It is so
And
good.
Sarah, one more thing. Thanks to you, I now have a new beetle weight idea.
No, not another
Oh.
one.
Not another one.
I call
Yes.
it Scrappiest Chrome.
Oh, no.
Scrappiest Crow.
Oh,
I'm
man.
sure it'll be more effective than Cassius. Just goofy, spiky punch.
Then
fists on it.
Cassius Chrome, please. There is an actual good robot called Cassius, which I have a tattoo of on my leg. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Cassius Chrome should not be confused with Cassius. Thank you.
That's the
I
second
feel quite
best,
strong about it.
second best Robot Wars tattoo I've seen. The first one being that guy who got the John Reed one.
He did.
What?
Someone got a John
That's a
Reed
trans-
tattoo that says
Yeah,
"Wait for
I'm
a
sorry
good
to
hit"
bust
under
your
it.
bubble, sweetheart. That's a transfer.
I mean, I know Tim's got the Robot Wars logo on his leg.
He does?
which
Yeah.
Now I want to get one.
I think me and Tim are the only one with real Robot Wars tattoos. The John Reed guy, I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but it was a transfer because he's actually sent me some in the post to wear.
Oh.
That would be so awkward if he actually met John Reed and say, "Hey, I got a tattoo of you as a meme on my arm."
How do you feel?
Absolutely
Excuse me.
disgusting.
I approached him. I approached him at Burgess Hill because I love my shunt posters. They're almost my children, bless them. and they love John Reed. And he was at Burgess Hill, and I was like, hey, I'm told you know that you're a kind of a meme god on a group I run, and that you're aware of this. And he sort of gave me this knowing look, as if to say, yeah.
That's excellent.
Well, John, my dearest darling John, if it's not too much trouble, could I convince you to do a tiny little video? And he sort of did this resigned sigh. Okay. And in fact, on video, he was very obliging. I did selfie video and just winged it and was like, hey, shunt posting. Oh my God, I'm with John Reed. And he was sort of like, yeah, hello, how are you? And I was like, this is going well. What's the thing he says? Oh yeah, John, I'm hoping John will say, wait for her. And he so obligingly said, wait for a good hit. And just, it was like, he said it. And I had to try and contain myself because I was still on camera. And then like as I was uploading it to shunt posting, I was like, come on, go quicker. And I knew that like just the whole group was just going to go, wow. And they did. And the response was just amazing. I showed John some of the comments afterwards, and I don't know whether he knew whether to like sigh or smile, because on the one hand, the comments on it were freaking lovely. Like so many people were just like, oh my God, this has made my day. And on the one hand, I felt kind of good about that. I was like, hey, I've made lots of people's day. Yay. But on the other hand, the poor guy.
I think he's.
Oh, he's lovely. He's a great guy.
Embraced the fact that
He's
he's got a
lovely.
lot of memes around him now, like the absolutely disgusting, the that's not right, the whatever he was doing at the King of Bots where he had his hands up in the air. Yeah,
I think
he's
I
great
think
though.
Patience award at the very least.
It's better to embrace the memes than to reject the memes. I think that's you know.
We need to have John Reed on BattleBots just so we can have Will Bales and John Reed fights. We can see who will be the true meme god of the robot fighting universe.
Oh, I'm sure.
Ooh.
Given the booking of this season, I'm sure we'll probably have the main event, the Battle of the Memes.
Anyway, let's.
Oh my god! Wait until you see my next fight.
I think that's enough about what is it? Battle Royale with Cheese and Tantrum. Tantrum won because the burger was overdone.
No.
It's cooked,
Aw.
it's burnt.
Oh,
You donkey.
come on.
So let's move on to Endgame versus Lockjaw.
This was basically Endgame ripping Lockjaw a new jaw, basically. Like, Lockjaw, it started when they got their one of their lifting wedges stuck inside the kill saw gimmick there. And basically, Endgame went to town on it.
It's kind of like that was a design oversight there. Like, did you not know those lovely big wedges in the floor were there?
There's all
Sorry,
kinds
that's
of stuff in the floor. There's
Ew.
the little spikes, which I've never seen work, and kill saws, Hellraisers, all kinds of
The
stuff. all on the
Hellraisers,
floor.
which are rarely used, so why'd they bother?
I don't think they've actually been used yet at all this season, have
They
they?
fire
randomly.
They fire randomly. I've seen the pulverizers work, though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They worked a few times in this episode. Right at the end of the burger fight, it got flattened by it.
Yeah.
Well, the kill saws made a good appearance in the Petunia fight.
Yeah, they're used. It's like, they're not as overpowered as they were in the old series, but I'm glad they're still getting some use.
I will say, even when they're not active, the kill saws were still a massive threat as shown in this fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ed Robinson said that he doesn't like fights where the arena decides things, and it seemed like it was one of those fights.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I know the kill saws only come up in the last minute of the fight, so you know, I'm not sure if that's the same with the other hazards. I know the screws are going all the time.
The screws are going the whole time. The pulverizers are driver controlled. The Hellraisers, I guess, come out whenever. So
Honestly, I just say they should just remove the Hellraisers and spikes. They're barely even visible on TV, and they're never used.
I know one of the big problems with Endgame is that the wedge is so low to the ground that it always bumps into something. Like maybe it bumps into one of the little spikes or the little seams in the floor. And it's a good machine, I will say.
Jack Barker deserves a lot of praise for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I also noticed that they definitely ground down the wedge a lot since last time it could barely move, but this one definitely moved a lot better, so I was very happy about
I
that.
thought it was drive motor problems, but it seemed like
no, it's definitely clearance issues.
Yeah, they were having problems with the wedge.
Hey,
Well,
sometimes
Shout out
wedges
to
are
Alex
good,
Horn.
and sometimes they're too good. I think this wedge is too good right now.
I think, to be fair, you've got to design around the arena, and you can't assume that it's going to be completely flat. And I think that a lot of builders will do that. And especially when you have such a wide wedge like Endgame, any bump that you come across will just kind of lift, well, essentially the entire wedge off the ground, right? Whereas when you've got the forks, like on Lockjaw and like Monsoon, you can go over a lot of those bumps, and as long as the forks like stay on the floor, you can still get under things. And I think that was possibly one of the design choices they might want to think about for next time. You know, maybe some forks or wedgelets or something like that.
Yeah. One thing I will add about Lockjaw, though, I feel like even though they had the right idea with the forks, they were just too long and too half round. That blade just couldn't get any kind of purchase.
Yeah, I think maybe they were going for more the Yeti style, where they're more for lifting.
Yeah.
But they did have them forwards at all times, which makes me think that they were going for like the feeder fork style. So
I think if you had them like splayed out to the side just a teeny bit, like at an angle to catch something, Like,
or do like what Yeti does and just have them lifted up to the back, so
like
the disc has more range to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, so basically, Endgame just unleashed hell on Lockjaw. Got some hits on it. I think one of the wheels flew off. Just
gave
made
Lockjaw a few missing teeth.
Yeah. I enjoyed it though. Like, it was a short fight, but it had some good hits in it, and I enjoyed it. That's what it's all
It was
about.
very clinical for Endgame, which you kind of don't expect when, especially when the producers are putting such emphasis on the fact that they'd never been to Battlebots before and they were kind of, reasonably new competitors.
I gotta say,
and I believe they fought on King of Bots as well.
No, Fight My Bots.
I
Fight My Bots.
It was FMB, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that they won it, didn't they?
I don't know. I didn't watch FMB.
Fair.
No, have I.
It's kind of hard to follow those shows a little bit.
Yeah. No, I believe they won, and they even took out robots like Deator as well. So it's a proven machine. It's a nice machine. Yeah, great team, great robot, really.
Yeah. And
I like the fact that intimidated by being there because, I remember being at Robot Wars and just being so nervous because on the one hand it was sort of like, oh my god, this is my childhood dream, like I loved Robot Wars when I was a kid, and like, oh my god, I'm here, but at the same time sort of realizing I'm on camera and people I don't know are going to be watching me, and people I do know are going to be watching me, and god, that's worse. And so yeah, and I must admit, if I was on BattleBots, I would literally be crapping myself. I'd be like, hi, hello, I'm gonna get destroyed. Hi. So I like the fact that he's there and he's not intimidated. He's just like, yeah, I'm here. I've got a good bot. I know I've got a good bot, and I'm here to get my way through. And I quite like that.
Yeah, and I see Endgame doing really well. It's won 2 matches so far, and I don't know who it's facing yet, but I'm sure it'll continue. And I say it's got a good chance of making the top 16.
I would love to see him put his money where his mouth is over the fight talk with Tombstone.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy.
See now, I want to see that fight. I pray that fight is on the cards later in the series. I want to see that now.
Or at least they're paired together in the tournament.
Yeah.
Tombstone v Endgame. Do you think they could have Tombstone?
If they can try and keep away from the blade and try and get the wheels, maybe.
If they steer clear, like if they get to the back end of the robot, then I'd say
That's
they've got a chance.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be hard, though, because as I still remember, I think it was one of the guys here saying that that's what Tombstone wants, because that 0-degree turning circle, he can basically just whip around and hit you on the side.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to take some driving, but if he did do it, like, what a win that would be, though.
And he can't really tank him like Eruption did to Carbide either.
Yeah.
Well, one thing about Tombstone, it's a good bot, but if you follow some of Ray's matches, there are times where the blade it starts to kind of lose power, or it gets a little too beaten up. Like, I know in Series 1 it made it to the final, but once it fought Bite Force, the blade just kind of gave up on it.
And even during this episode, he actually mentioned that Minotaur managed to do actually a lot of damage to him.
Yeah, like the whole frame was bent up, the blade was hanging
damage,
off.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I'm sure it was maybe 2 or 3 hits from just being absolutely destroyed. Because the frame was cracked in several places, and they actually had to cut the entire robot in half to re-weld the frame up.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was really battered, like way more than you'd see on TV.
Wow.
I know Daniel Freitas did not go down without a fight. Like once the spinner went, you were kind of like, oh man. And I think there was a kind of sense of disappointment once Minotaur's spinner stopped spinning. It was like, oh, come on. But then he was just like, oh hell, gun ho, I'm going for it. Just bang, 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 just head on Ray's spinner. And I have to say that made for an amazing fight.
Oh, it did.
So since we're talking about Tombstone, I think we should go ahead and segue into the main event.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
So so the main event of this episode was Tombstone versus Gigabyte, and I actually like this. They showed footage of Tombstone fighting Megabyte. I believe this was from RoboGames 2005.
It looked like
Actually, it was from the Actually, hold on. I actually know the event. I think it's from the It was from the unaired 2009 BattleBots tournament.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
And I think
and
Tombstone win that as well, or was it Mega? I forget, but
nope, he actually lost. I think.
Yeah, that was Gigabyte that won that one.
Yeah. Anyway.
Megabyte.
Before we move on, there is one more thing I want to talk about.
Like Megabyte, the team competed last year, but they also went out in the first round after their they basically malfunctioned and the starter had to keep going nonstop for 45 minutes. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that was Invader, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was named Invader.
Yeah, but Gigabyte, I like the new paint job. When it spins up, it's like this big multicolor.
Oh yeah, it looks really cool when it spins up.
That color scheme irks me. Not the colors itself, because it's not symmetrical. That's the thing. It looks more like a pie chart than a Windows logo.
It's what you would see if you were tripping on acid.
Yeah. Hey, I also want to throw this out there. I'm actually looking at the fight card, and whoever did the editing or Photoshop for the battle did a horrible job. They just photoshopped Gigabyte over Minotaur. If you go back and look at it,
Oops.
Gigabyte is actually on top of Minotaur.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Yeah, I mean, unless they did it on purpose, it's like a Tombstone kill count or something.
Or maybe
cool.
Maybe when the top flew off, it was secretly Minotaur underneath.
And that, my friends, is our
It's
John
all with
Reed.
Gigabyte, but it was I, Minotaur.
And that, my friends, brings us to our John Reed's Good Hit of the Night Award. Tombstone absolutely disrobing Gigabyte.
Oh, he was filthy.
Can I just say the best thing to result of that fight was my good friend from Shuntposting, Dale Bruce, made the cabaret burlesque version of this fight, which is up on Combat Robotics. And he did the good old burlesque music when Gigabyte's top comes off. And honestly, I was senseless after watching that. It's the most glorious robot disrobing ever. It's just like, woo, there it goes.
The family show.
I wasn't even expecting it. Like I've seen Megabyte before. It's solid, and it can do like this crazy dance on its head when it gets flipped upside down. I knew this was going to be a tough, destructive match. I was not expecting the whole top to go flying off. It was amazing.
No, me neither. I had quite a funny moment with it as I was watching it because, of course, when it's 8 p.m. for you guys, it's 1 a.m. over here. And I was watching it at my parents' house. So it was 1 in the morning. Well, it was near to 2 in the morning by the time that fight came on. And so I was sat downstairs watching it up with the headphones so I didn't wake anybody up. And apparently, well, my dad told me the next morning that he randomly came down to use the bathroom in the middle of the night and randomly heard me shout, "Oh my God, it's naked."
What, did you think you were watching porn at 1 in the morning?
He said to me, and the next day he said to me, "What were you watching last night? Because I'm sure you told me you were staying up to watch Battlebots." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, you shouted something about being naked," and I started to worry. Well, there was nudity on Battlebots, Dad.
Well, it is an American show, so it wouldn't surprise me.
A robot got its shell ripped off. That's what you
So
say.
here's the interesting thing. I was at Colossal Con.
Directed by Michael Beck.
I was, and unfortunately, I missed the 8 o'clock showing. So because I was on my way to Colossal Con, so I had to watch it at 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm watching the repeat, and then I see the show go flying off, and I'm just howling. And I think I heard somebody in the room next to me go, "Shut up!" Because I was just cackling with laughter watching this. Yeah.
No, it was good TV though. It was good TV.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, Ray. His gimmick is being the absolute bad guy, but he was nice enough to say he wasn't going to attack again. And fun fact, I think I forget who it is driving Gigabyte. He presses the button because he thinks it's the tap out button like Robo Games and Motorama has, and the ref's like, no tapping out.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I'm not gonna. I don't want to continue this match.
Ray Billings says, stop moving, John, and it's not John driving Gigabyte because John, who actually the actual
you guys are starting to cut out a little bit.
He was away in China.
We're still okay, but yeah. Maybe it's something wrong on Ryan's end, but yeah. Well, I don't know. We all blame it on Ryan. We blame you for the shortness of this match. But no. It was, again, like most spinner versus spinner fights, it was short, but it was definitely entertaining to watch.
Damn Chinese bearings.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, I was going to say what happened
again.
Basically, it was using Chinese bearings they got from China, and apparently they just broke off. And if you watch it in slow motion, you can actually see the top part of Gigabyte just breaking right off. And I guess, and then Tombstone got another hit in and just completely gone.
Yeah, they actually posted about it that they actually think they may have even gotten the wrong material completely. They ordered 6061 aluminum, but apparently they got some other type of aluminum which was significantly weaker. And the company apparently denied it that they sent the wrong one.
Well,
we did nothing wrong.
Well, Megabyte was the runner-up on King of Bots.
On the I thought they took third or fourth.
No,
Tom, they said aluminum. Do they mean aluminium?
Sorry, we're being American again.
Are they speaking American English? I don't know. It's confusing this.
What is this Americanese you were talking
Americanese.
about?
Americanese.
Is it Behemoth or Behemoth?
Behemoth.
Don't start that.
It's got to be Behemoth. Come on.
Yeah, I remember from the classic series they always said Behemoth, and now suddenly Dara O'Brien is in there with the whole Behemoth.
Behemoth.
See, now all I can be a moth now when I hear it.
It was a good fight, and it's a shame that it ended the way it did. Because I reckon that's the exact kind of robot that can beat Tombstone.
Yeah,
I
also noticed in slow motion, if you look closely, they actually hit the wheel when the shell goes flying.
They do. And, the kind of robots that beat Tombstone are often wedges, right? And here you've got a wedge that's also spinning and is a weapon. Because every time they hit, they're going to be hitting with the weapon, but also because it's like a sloped edge, it's also a wedge. And I think that's a good design to beat Tombstone. But unfortunately, it came down to the Chinese-made weapon shaft.
Is it a melt frame?
Sorry?
What's that, Sarah?
Is it a melt frame?
It's got it's
no.
4-wheel drive, and it's got the like the motor with the chain.
It's a classic full body spinner.
Yeah.
God help us all if they ever do build a melty brain in the style of Megabyte.
Rory, he's been thinking of coming up with an idea for a melty brain shell spinner. I think. Did you see he actually has a little ant weight that is powered by that is solar powered? So if you move the light around the arena, and the robot actually goes with it.
It's amazing. I saw that.
I actually had an idea when I was very young and getting into the sport where I'd have a solar-powered flywheel. There would be a light inside the robot that goes towards this solar dish that would actually power the spinner, which not a real great idea in context, but Rory actually figured out how to make it work.
Yeah, and also that wouldn't work in England because we never get the sun. So,
usually whenever a week goes by and there's and it's like either mostly overcast, it's cloudy or rainy. I say to my coworkers, we've had British weather for the most of the week.
I've never even understood the weather. We've had cold weather since cold weather started in like October and it went on until like May.
That sounds perfect.
Let's let's get
that
back to the fight.
Sounds like summer.
Well,
It's like I went to a Colossal Con and I went to the water park. They have the world's largest indoor water park, but nobody was outside because it was so cold out. I don't get it. But yeah, as far as predictions go, I got my predictions were Monsoon, Scorpios, the Burger.
Yeah.
Oh, the burger.
Endgame and Megabyte, and I ended up going 3 for 5.
My mom beat both me and my dad on predictions. I didn't make any predictions for the night, though. Actually, no, my mom beat my dad.
Sarah, did you have any predictions on this episode? Like who was going to win?
I not so much predictions as such, more wants, I guess. I obviously wanted Monsoon to win as fellow Brits. And I really wanted the Burger to win as well, which was maybe unrealistic, but my enthusiasm was there, man. Tombstone and versus Gigabyte, I wanted Gigabyte to win just because Tombstone already had the glorious win over Minotaur, so I kind of wanted Megabyte to win just to go, yeah, I beat Tombstone, man. I wanted Scorpios to win that fight because I had a meme lined up for Orion, and I was just like, you need to win this fight so I can make the meme.
Yay, and you got it.
So
I did.
So considering that we've pretty much set one, of course, just to close out the fight, we of course laugh at the fact that Ray Billings actually showed mercy to an opposing team.
He actually did kind of a babyface turn here.
I think he's the kind of guy that would anyway. I think honestly, if I was fighting him and I was out, and I'm a poor person and I'm not shy about that, to be honest. Most of my robots, my robots are built on a total budget and have donated parts and stuff, and I literally would turn to him and be like, have mercy, please, don't kill it, please.
I get the feeling he's just sparing.
I'm seeing it now.
It seems to me like he's just sparing them so that he can kill them for good in a future fight.
I mean, come on.
That's my interpretation of it.
No,
why kill it now when it's at like half, when it's like less than half strength? If you want to beat someone, you want to beat someone at like full power.
Well, you gotta kind of turn the power down now because they have a limit. Although you wouldn't even tell it with all the damage still being caused.
I know.
Yeah, the limit's not really cost us on entertainment value, has it? Let's be honest.
No, Ray is a really nice guy, and I mean, the thing is, with the way that this season is run, each robot already has up to 4 fights even before you reach the knockout stage. So if Tombstone had got in for that hit, odds are that would have probably been Gigabyte, because that would have been everything, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And if that, then they may not have had any more fights. So
I really love that Battlebots has done that, because I think, as somebody who's had it happen to me on Robot Wars, there's nothing worse than having one fight and being out and that being it. It's really frustrating. It's really defeating as well, and it sucks.
Well, you should be thankful you didn't have to fight Supernova twice.
Hey.
I'd have enjoyed that, to be honest. If I'm going to go out, I want to go out with a bang. But no, actually, funnily enough, I thought of this when myself and Ben and Joe were coming up with the concept of Battlebots. Is we wanted the show to be Roboteer friendly, and one of the best things you can do for Roboteers is guarantee them plenty of fights. And so our format is designed that all the Roboteers are getting 3 fights minimum. So I really like that Battlebots has done that as well, because I think it makes it a better experience for the Roboteers.
Yeah, and it also gives all the robots some limelight, because like in the last 2 seasons they would only show highlights and not a lot of bots got a whole lot of screen time, and I'm happy that they're pretty much showing every fight that the show can fit in. And they can show what all these robots can do. They can show what the teams can do. There really entertaining. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as looking at it from a fan perspective as well, because I always consider myself a fan before I do a Roboteer. And there are robots where you think, they've got so much potential, and you just wish they could have had another fight so that you could have seen what they were made of. Like take Razor for example. In its early days, it kind of kept breaking down or had design flaws or whatever, and then when it shone, it really shone, and it was amazing. And you just think that, if they'd never had that opportunity to get back and do it, we'd have never seen that, and we'd have never had that entertainment.
Yeah. So I guess that pretty much covers the episode. Although there is an extra match that is airing tonight, believe it or not, and it is Mohawk versus Gemini versus the returning Kraken, and hopefully we'll cover it in next week's episode when we review it. And
once I get home, but Tommy, I believe you want to say something.
Oh yeah, just need to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of Team Monsoon, K-Cut. They're just a really great water jet cutting company in the UK, and I know they do a lot of the metal for a lot of the robots in this country. And without them, it would have been a lot harder to fund the build because it's a very expensive sport.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, K-Cut.
It's just seeing as we're doing shout out, Shuntposting, I love you all.
And any shout outs from you too, Ryan?
Well, unlike these two, I don't have a Facebook page or robot. I'm pretty much just a broke-ass college student. So.
Don't worry, the time will
too
come.
Many ideas.
The time will come when you finally have a finished working robot.
Yeah. All I know is it has to be giant monster themed. That's the only guarantee.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
You don't want to build a. I actually recommended, but before we did filming that or recording that. You should do a cyclone, like remember when Raptor Robotics had the spinning disc that was on tracks? Like you're going with the track design, aren't you, Ryan?
Well, that was more of an experiment. I was just trying to design a UK ant that actually fits in the 4-inch cube because every single one of mine can't. Seriously, how do they do that 4-inch cube? That's like insane. That's like throwing it out there.
It's tricky, but it's doable.
Yeah, it's like I'm building I'm actually building a 150 gram vertical spinner called the Tooth Fairy right now, which since that class here in the U.S. is called the Fairy Weights, makes a lot more sense.
Fairies put boots on it. Fairies wear boots. My favorite Black Sabbath song. All right now.
Yeah.
So
I would actually love to go visit the Ant World Series, by the way, or one of the Ant Freeze events. I actually really want to plan a Europe trip around there, just go to one of those.
I'd like to go there, visit the events like the big heavies. I would like to compete at Battlebots, but alas, Mondo Bizarro is a WETA kit, and kitbots aren't allowed.
Yeah,
but,
and
I do hear the Beetleweed World Series is a lot of fun though too.
I was actually literally just looking up reciprocating saws to see if I could actually find something for Crappiest Chrome now, since I got the idea.
Yay!
Crappiest Chrome.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I thought this was the best episode of the season since episode 1, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
For me, I'm going to give an 8.5.
Oh yeah.
Very specific.
Simply because I would have given it a 9, but never mind. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, there were plenty of good hits, good matches, very entertaining moments from both the Roboteers, the commentators, and Farouk.
And Tim.
Oh, and Tim. Yeah. Tell us what that little thing was that you did at the beginning of the fight with you giving him the cut it out symbol.
Oh my god. Oh, you mean what with Red Devil when we wiggled at them? Okay, so a short story behind that. We actually fitted a small car horn to the robot.
Oh no.
Wait, what?
Okay. Yeah, so this was Tim's idea. So Tim brought with him a little car horn attached to an RC switch, and we asked Red Devil prior to the fight, hey, would you guys be alright if we just fitted this car horn to our robot? And they were like, yeah, sure, go for it. So we did, and at the start of the fight, the idea was we were going to drive over to them, wiggle the butt of the robot at them, and just start honking the horn. Just because.
Is that why you almost did an early hit? You just drove.
That might have been it. Yeah, because so many teams go into this and are dead serious, and we just wanted to have a lot of fun. So we just drove over there, wiggled the butt, and just started honking at them. And when the weapon went down, I remember Tim looked directly at the camera and just pulled the trigger and just went beep. And so for the remainder of the fight, I'm pretty sure the horn was actually going off, but I think they edited it all out. So yeah,
Comedy Central.
But it would have messed up the audio pretty badly, to be honest. So
on a scale of 1 to 10, Tom, how would you rate this episode overall?
I would give it an iron ore out of 10. It was great. A solid iron ore 6 out of 10. No. It was a good one. I'd give it 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Good one.
Your match was good. There were some matches that were good, a little short, but
they were.
Even the dud match was still hilarious.
I was entertained by it. Sarah, would you on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
I don't do out of 10. I do shunt posting scales. So I'm going to give it an absolutely lovely.
That's good.
And lastly,
just because, right? One of the Roboteers from the Scorpios team has made a little robot called Mool, which I don't know if you're aware of. It's a mini of Walden Overlord. And it's like the coolest little robot in the world. And I love it.
I need to see this picture.
Share a picture.
Bugglebots posted it today. It is. It's on Bugglebots. I posted it today on Bugglebots, and it's a kung fu robot. I don't care what official title it has. It's a kung fu robot, and it's amazing. And he was on Battlebots, so it definitely gets an absolutely lovely rating.
Absolutely lovely.
Just for that alone.
And lastly, we don't want to leave out Ryan. What's your score?
I'm gonna give it about an 8 out of 10. I was trying to think of something clever, but I'm an uncreative hack, so.
And right here, we're gonna show a picture of the nefarious Bugglebot thing. I have what is? It's like a giant.
It's so good.
Metal and it's got a
it
little hook sticking out the side.
Wait,
more...
picture.
It's beautiful.
That picture doesn't do it justice. Go on YouTube and look up the Mool fights from Robo Games. They're amazing.
Oh yeah, I actually have
to do this afterward.
We'll show it later, and yeah, that pretty much covers for this episode. They actually showed some previews for the next week's episode, and it looks like it's going to be really good.
Oh, it's a good one.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, got huge. You got free shipping. Huge!
Monsoon!
Blacksmith and a few others. Cripes almighty, I was at Robo Games. I don't even remember seeing Mool. I guess because I wasn't following the Antweights. I don't know. We'll show a link to Mool, M-O-L, sometime. Oh, it's from
Mool is love.
It's from 2017. Yeah, I didn't go last year, unfortunately.
Oh.
I've never seen.
Oh, and fighting Dewey ND, and it's just gotta hold a Dewey ND.
We're gonna edit this out.
No, I wanna give my own commentary. I'm Mr. Psycho here.
Right. Okay, that's it.
All right. Yep. That pretty much covers this week's episode. It's good to have everybody on. Sarah, better late than never, right? Finally got you on.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's all good. You made this twice as entertaining.
Thank you. Motherly duties called.
Tom, good to have you on here as well.
Thanks very much. It's been great to be on.
We hope to have you back.
Yep. And
yeah, anytime.
And Ryan, thanks for joining us as well.
No problem.
So, until next week's episode, I am the Hardcore Kid.
And I'm Otaku Nate.
I'm Ryan.
And I am Tom.
Sarah.
I am your Lord Master.
And
I am your unforgettable meme queen. I'm not. I'm lying. I'm sorry. I'm Sarah, and I'm very boring.
If you're the meme queen, would that technically make you the meme queen of England?
Oh yeah. I'm down with that.
until next time, happy shunt posting.
Monsoon!
Absolutely.
Absolutely lovely.
Absolutely lovely.
Wait, what?